Story 1. Chris Brown. Not just for the incident with Rihanna, which should have been enough, but for all the other violent acts he has committed since then. He still has fans defending him as if he has never done anything wrong. Insane. 2009. Assault on Rihanna. Brown pleaded guilty to felony assault after a physical altercation with then-girlfriend Rihanna, resulting in visible injuries. He was sentenced to 5 years of probation, community labor, and domestic violence counseling. 2013. Altercation with Frank Ocean. In January 2013, Brown was involved in an altercation with singer Frank Ocean over a parking space. Ocean alleged that Brown punched him, but he chose not to press charges. 2013. Felony assault in Washington, District of Columbia. In October 2013, Brown and his bodyguard were arrested for felony assault after an altercation with 2 men outside a hotel. The charge was later reduced to a misdemeanor. 2016. Lawsuit by former manager. Brown's former manager, Mike G., sued him for assault, alleging that Brown punched him multiple times. The lawsuit was settled out of court in 2019. 2017. Restraining order by Karrueche Tran. Brown's ex-girlfriend, Karrueche Tran, was granted a 5-year restraining order after presenting evidence of threats and alleged physical abuse during their relationship. 2018. Arrest for felony battery. In July 2018, Brown was arrested on a felony battery charge related to an incident in 2017 where he allegedly punched a photographer at a nightclub. The charge was later dropped. 2022. Rape allegation. A woman filed a $20 million lawsuit accusing Brown of raping her on a yacht in December 2020. Brown denied the allegations, and the lawsuit was dismissed in August 2022 due to lack of prosecution. 2023. Assault on music producer. In February 2023, Brown allegedly assaulted music producer Abe Dial at a London nightclub, striking him with a tequila bottle. Brown was arrested in May 2023 and charged with grievous bodily harm with intent. 2024. Lawsuit by concertgoers. Concertgoers filed a lawsuit claiming that Brown and his entourage assaulted them backstage after a performance, seeking $50 million in damages. I should have emphasized this better. My main point was about the fans who still blindly support him. I just wanted to give some context for why I think his fan base is the worst. I probably got carried away with that context. Story 2. K-pop fans. Their protectiveness often crosses into aggressive online bullying, proving extreme devotion can be more destructive than supportive. It is a digital mob. Story 3. I broke my fan by dropping it on its side. Cannot stand up anymore because the base is damaged. I had to throw it away. Story 4. As a World Wrestling Entertainment fan, I am going to say that World Wrestling Entertainment, especially with Liv Morgan having a stalker arrested and Roxanne Perez being the subject of a death threat, both incidents occurred within the last week. Story 5. No matter how toxic the fan base is of a certain director, the Andrew Tate fans are much worse. Story 6. Star Wars fans did the following. Bullied Ahmed Best to the point where he almost took his own life because they did not like Jar Jar. Bullied Kelly Marie Tran so much after The Last Jedi that she had to go through years of therapy due to racist and body-shaming comments. Bullied Jake Lloyd as a child, and to this day he continues to experience mental health struggles. Bullied Daisy Ridley's character because of Rey being labeled a Mary Sue and other reasons. They are the worst. Story 7. The anime community. In the 1980s and 1990s, the anime community was an outcast group that was bullied and made fun of for liking anime. It was very niche at the time. From the mid-2000s to 2010, anime became mainstream with actors, rappers, and celebrities talking about it and wearing anime merchandise. The anime community now consists mostly of elitist snobs who bully and make fun of their own. This is sad, considering how it used to be, and now they are criticizing their own members. Story 8. I like the band Fish, but the fan base turns me off from wanting to see live shows. The audience is consistently the worst, ranging from people on hard drugs such as methamphetamine, prescription pills, and heroin, who appear unstable and should be in a rehabilitation clinic, to obnoxious dancers ignoring personal space, the unpleasant odor of the unwashed and entitled individuals. I have attended music festivals across a variety of genres. Fans of Tool and other more hardcore or metal bands have a much more polite and pleasant fan base. Similarly, other jam band audiences like Government Mule and Dead and Company are better. Something About Fish brings out the worst fans. Story 9. Unpopular opinion, but no fan base for a female pop star remotely compares to football, also known as soccer, team supporters, and other major sports fans. I spend a lot of time near the Arsenal Stadium, and we are literally told to evacuate when the fans are coming out drunk and angry because it is so dangerous. Fans of Taylor Swift, Beyoncé, Lady Gaga, and others do not compare. Story 10. Disney adults. Every fandom within is toxic and horrible. Disney Animation, Star Wars, Marvel. Story 11. I am going to say fans of Adolf Hitler. I think they are probably the worst fan base. There has been a strange increase in their numbers recently. Story 12. People in prison who are known for doing something very vicious begin receiving letters from new fans asking, "What is going on?" Story 13. Taylor Swift, Nicki Minaj, Chris Brown. Taylor. If you like her music but get her birthday wrong, her fans will attack you. They believe Taylor is above reproach. You cannot criticize her without being threatened by a group of obsessed fans. Nicki. For similar reasons, though I think she behaves worse than Taylor ever could. She has a problematic attitude and a questionable choice of husband. But again, you cannot say anything against her without her fans losing their mind. Chris Brown. The man has a pattern of abuse, but do not criticize him or bring it up. What is worse is his fan base seems largely female. They love defending this criminal. Story 14. K-pop. Do I even have to describe this? There are many wonderful fans who make the experience worthwhile. Thank God for them. But a small percentage of fans ruin the experience for everyone, including the idols. They hurl abuses at idols for dating, even for dating rumors. Just a year ago, one idol was bullied out of his career by people sending wreaths of funeral flowers around his picture outside his company building. The reason? He was caught with his girlfriend in a circulating picture, as if his personal life is anyone's business. The delusional behavior of these fans needs to stop. No, you don't have a chance even if they were single, and they are not innocent virgins. Just stop. Story 15. They are the most toxic, sensitive, and entitled group of people who harass and criticize others endlessly just for creating something they do not like. They do not even like most Star Wars movies and shows. It is unusual. Every franchise has its bad and subpar entries, but only among Star Wars fans do people spend more time obsessively hating them rather than accepting them as they are. Story 16. Chiefs fans are everywhere now, insufferable. They claim they are the best dynasty in sports. They say their quarterback is the greatest of all time. They barely understand the nuances of the game or teams beyond their own roster. Some of them do not even know their own roster beyond their quarterback and tight end. Where were you all before Patrick Mahomes? Story 17. Taylor Swift. This may not be a popular opinion, but it seems that everyone has encountered a superfan in the wild and disliked it. I am not referring to the average fan. It is fine to like whatever you like. However, I am talking about diehard Swift fans and their excessive admiration for Taylor Swift. I cannot understand the parasocial obsession with a billionaire. Feels cult-like. Edit. As if the immediate downvotes did not just completely prove my point. Edit 2. Not popular meaning that this opinion will inevitably receive criticism from diehard Swift fans because they are very vocal and widespread. Story 18. Gavin McInnes. He is a comedian and the founder of Vice magazine. A few years ago, he started a fan club that was basically a parody version of Fight Club, but very silly. Initiation, for example, involved naming 5 breakfast cereals while existing members would hit you with pool noodles. He said he was inspired when he saw a boy singing a song from Aladdin the musical and thought it was a hilarious example of how far masculinity had been eroded. That song was called Proud of Your Boy. The name of his fan club was The Proud Boys. They became so problematic that he officially distanced himself from them. Given the kinds of extreme behavior he used to engage in, that is significant. They are now literally considered a terrorist group. Story 19. I would probably say the Hampton Bay 54-inch Mara indoor-outdoor model. Over time, the blades can detach from the base. If you are underneath it, that could hurt a lot. Story 20. I think every fan base is equally toxic. People will defend someone or something because they like them. There is no reason why an adult should idealize another adult. I like Chris Brown since I grew up with his music, but I do not idolize him. People get into fights because someone says they do not like Taylor Swift or Beyoncé. I am not even going to begin with the absolute idolization of political leaders because it shows that we, as people, blindly follow or purposely go against what is popular at the moment. Story 21. The Has-Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss fandom have turned a blind eye to the creator overworking her employees and say anyone who criticizes her or her shows is jealous. Glorified rape and sexual assault. Two popular ships involve someone being paired with their rapist. Driven at least one person to suicide. Physically assaulted the voice actors at conventions. Claimed kids should watch the shows to learn about not safe for work content. Vandalized a library. Doxed people who disagree with them. Harassed anyone who does normal fandom activities like shipping and redesigns if they are not perfectly aligned with canon. Harassed anyone who criticizes the creator, despite her being a terrible person who hired a person with a rape fetish to design a rape scene, lied about them being a sexual assault survivor, and claimed he's harmless when he made lewd comments to a minor. Dismissed any evidence of the creator mistreating her employees as fake. Story 22. Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton fans are the worst. Both sides are very toxic, especially about the 2021 season. Just enjoy the races of both drivers while you can. Story 23. Taylor Swift. Almost a year after Dave Grohl made a joking comment about her at the London Foo Fighters concert. The Swift fans are still reacting on my daughter's TikTok after she posted the video she took of him saying it. Some of the things they have said are actually offensive. Story 24. At this point, her fan base consists of keyboard warriors who target anyone who disagrees with their favorite singer in hate campaigns, and she does nothing to stop it. Additionally, she often portrays herself as a victim, and her fans readily support that narrative. Story 25. Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Jesse Waters. By far, the worst people on the planet support these individuals. Even David Icke's conspiracy theories are somewhat based in reality. These individuals just spout whatever they like with absolutely zero basis in fact. Story 26. Tennessee Volunteers. Their fans are very nice, and the games are legendary, especially at night. The stadium is huge. However, they rarely win. They are hanging on to something that happened 30 years ago, when they had one good season. I will say that their trolling of Ohio State was hilarious, and to be honest, Ohio State kind of deserved it. Story 27. Gamers in general are often seen as the most entitled and delusional group of people. They frequently become upset when asked to pay for any content, even though most games cost about 50 cents per hour of entertainment. They also overreact to the absence of imagined features that are technologically impossible to create. Story 28. Everyone out here trying to make political statements while I am just thinking about how disgusting the Loud House fandom is because that show has a fandom for some reason. Story 29. There are many candidates. I will choose the first one I encountered. Star Wars. They are just the worst. Story 30. I honestly think Eugenia Cooney's most devoted fans are the worst, mainly because they ignore the reality of her situation and choose to be as delusional as she and her mother appear to be. They are the type of people who say, "Slay Queen" in a life-or-death situation, calling those who worry about her haters. She does not have many of these fans, as most people watching her are concerned for her well-being, but the few she has still include this type of person. I am not sure how anyone can watch someone deteriorate and say, "Slay Queen. Ignore everyone else? You go girl." If you try to argue with them, they claim you are body-shaming her. You cannot explain to these people that she is on the verge of death or make them understand how serious the situation is. Story 31. The video game arc is targeted at players who play on player versus player servers. I am not talking about betraying your own tribe or the trash talk between tribes during battle. I have played games for 30 years, and this fan base is hateful, misogynistic, racist, homophobic, transphobic, and includes Trump supporters. I have been in big tribes and small tribes, and it does not matter. You will have at least half of them being horrible people. They spend all day on the game talking about one of these issues. Story 32. Warhammer 40,000 is one of the most obnoxious fandoms. It is so toxic that its members try to infest everything else with it. Story 33. Marvin Heemeyer, also known as the builder of the Killdozer, was an angry, spiteful man who claimed to hear voices. He was unreasonable and awful, using his wealth and stubbornness to push the limits of what people were willing to accept. He fought back aggressively, broke every promise and offer out of greed, and eventually tried to kill everyone he disagreed with who happened to live nearby. The only reason he did not kill anyone was due to incompetence, quick thinking by the people around him, and his cowardice. He should not be remembered as a folk hero, yet he often is and is used as a symbol for unreasonable actions. His supporters argue endlessly that this deeply flawed individual had a point and should be considered a hero. Story 34. Star Wars. When Finn took off his helmet in the trailer, I thought I had time traveled to the antebellum South. Story 35. Reddit, the double-edged sword of the most useful advice you have ever received about the exact niche issue you need to solve, comes with the unfiltered opinions of keyboard warriors of varying types who attack you for anything and everything in anonymity. It could be your karma score, sexual orientation, religious beliefs, or political beliefs. These attacks may be completely unrelated to what you are actually discussing, but that is the cost of this platform. It offers the most useful and useless knowledge and opinions at your fingertips. The superfans are known worldwide as a synonym for cringe. Story 36. WWE's former owner is a sex predator. They have ruined countless lives because of steroids and other substances. A man fell to his death during a live pay-per-view event, and they carried on with the show as if nothing happened. There are also numerous sexual abuse allegations by women, children, and former employees. Despite this, their fans continue watching because they find the entertainment enjoyable. Story 37. Like someone else said, Trump. He has done many harmful things, and yet some people still insist he is their choice, even though these actions are going to harm them. There are videos of Make America Great Again supporters begging Trump for lenience, as if he cares about their lives, either generally or individually. Story 38. You could put the Star Wars logo on a rock and film it for 3 hours. The fans would still argue about how it is canon and the best movie. Story 39. Harley-Davidson or Chevrolet Corvette owners. There is not really any problem with the product. It just seems to attract unpleasant owners. Story 40. K-pop fans and Taylor Swift fans behave online towards non-fans or anyone with even the mildest form of critique or disinterest in their idols. It is not everyone, of course, but the toxic ones are absolutely extreme, and because they are the vocal ones, those are the ones you tend to encounter. Story 41. The Red Pill fanbase consists of misogynists, with Andrew Tate being the worst, as he brags about abusing women. Story 42. Michael Jackson's fanbase defends him despite his admission to sleeping in bed with young boys. They also harassed and gave death threats to some of the boys who said he molested them. Story 43. Those fans who cheer for the New York Yankees, Dallas Cowboys, Los Angeles Lakers, and Duke University basketball. Additional points for those who also support either Ohio State University or the University of Notre Dame football teams. Story 44. I think there is a lot to consider, but to me, the unforgivable is Amber Heard's fan base. They justify lying and false claims of domestic violence when she was the abuser. This takes away from real victims of domestic violence, and since my mom is a survivor, it really gets under my skin. The videos I have seen, the bruises and scars, forcing drugs on her. My stepdad was pretty bad, but when he relapsed, he was truly a bad person. I am not saying Johnny was completely innocent in everything, but what she did deserves prison time. Story 45. Taylor Swift, the entire Korean pop genre, Billie Eilish, Tyler the Creator. I like Tyler, but his fans are very unusual. Story 46. Swifties. I have heard and personally experienced death threats for disagreeing with her. It was not even about something serious, just something light. They threatened to kill my pets. Absolutely disgusting fan base. Cannot stand them. Story 47. Definitely supporters of Make America Great Again, associated with former President Donald Trump. Honestly, they are not even a fan base. It is much more akin to a cult. They are extremely angry, racist, sexist, homophobic, and just overall terrible people. Story 48. Speed, the streamer, is over the top, and his fans reflect that back to him tenfold. I don't follow him, but I occasionally see clips, and the way his fans interact with him is strange. One person licked his hand on the street. Another time, he thought he had broken his ankle and was trying to get to the hospital. Hundreds of fans swarmed him, grabbing his hair and pulling at his shirt, while he begged them to let him through. Story 49. Star Wars. It was so bad that it made George Lucas's decision to sell the franchise to the Walt Disney Company easier. Story 50. Boston Bruins fans are some of the loudest and most intoxicated individuals to roam the streets of Southie at 2 a.m., either lamenting or celebrating. Story 51. Too many to mention, but one of them is Vic Mignogna's Risible Rangers. They are essentially a cult and fanatically devote themselves to defending a mid-level voice actor who has more than 30 years of allegations against him. They literally considered planning a hit on one of his critics. It is nuts. Story 52. Cowboy fans and I live in Dallas-Fort Worth. They are obnoxious, and anytime they win a game, they say they are going to the Super Bowl. Story 53. If we are talking about internet culture, it has to be the Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel fanbase. I used to love both of those series, but the fans are incredibly toxic. The hate is just as bad. I cannot even be bothered to follow the series anymore. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.